I mean, you can see how long Jake these choppers laid out. This frame's got really nice long lines to it. And what better way to accentuate those lines than to ball mill the frame like I did on my very first biker build-off almost 25 years ago. You know, the frame's gonna be nickel plated. The frame's gonna be nickel plated. The sheet metal is gonna be really minimal. You know, the fender's gonna be small. The gas tank's gonna be small. It gets a ball milled steel sissy bar. It'll be nickel plated also. So that nickel's really gonna be one of the things. So that nickel's gonna be one of the primary things that jumps out at you when you look at this motorcycle. So see it now and take a look at it when I get it done. You'll notice a difference. Take a look at it now and take a look at it when it's done, and you'll notice what a huge difference ball milling and nickeling the frame does. Okay, here's something I haven't done in almost 25 years. Ball mill a chopper frame. I've done it 3 times. I ball milled a chopper frame. The first time I did it was on the very first biker build-off bike. The second time I did it was on the VQ bike, which was done just a year later. And the third time I did it was on a purple merch chopper that I built a year or 2 after that. And then I haven't done it since. So this is something that brings me back to the old biker build-off days. But I'm going to show you how I ball mill Jake D's chopper frame. I'm going to show you how I lay out the ball milling. I'm going to show you how I set the frame up in the milling machine and get this job done. I've got the rigid frame up on the milling machine table. It's not bolted down yet, but I'm going to start laying out my ball milling pattern. So let me show you how I do this. I go ahead and take a piece of tape and I run it down the middle of that tube and follow the curvature of the tube. And what I'm going to be able to do is take a Sharpie and draw to either line of this and then go down the middle and use those lines to be my indexes for where my holes are going to go. Okay, so I'm going to take my bronze colored Sharpie and the trace along the edge of either side. That's basically going to divide this frame tube into 3 sections on this side that I can ball mill. There you can see my lines that go down either side. They don't need to be exact or precise because this is just kind of an idea. Go get you a tailor's tape or a seamstress tape. I'm gonna lay this tape up here on the frame. And I'll take a piece of masking tape and just tape the end of it down to the frame so it can't move on me, like this. And then I'll go ahead and move it along here, and then I'll just come down here and mark every inch on either side. Then at every other set of marks, I go ahead and go across the middle. I'll show you why I'm doing that. Now I'll just go right down the middle of these and mark those as a center ball mill. So they'll be ball milled right down the center of this. And now that I have these marks, so I'll ball mill here at this intersection in the middle, and then here, and then here, and then here, and I'll have this staggered ball mill pattern. So it'll be here, here, and here, 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 and here, 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 and here. And I'll get that staggered ball mill pattern down this leg. I got the frame clamped down real tight with my clamping kit to the table. So I'm just gonna move in and start to set up my end mill and start to drop these ball mills in this frame. It'll happen pretty quick. You see how fast I get this done. I might have to move the frame around a little bit because it's so big, it might want to bump into the back of the milling machine or bump into something else I have in the shop here, but I'll move it around and get it done. The frame clamped down to the table. I'll bring the mill over, move my dials, and get myself lined up with my marks in the frame. And I'll turn the machine on and just come in and start to ball mill. There's my very first dimple in the frame. I'll just come down the line here. Line myself up for the next one. There's the first group of dimples that I ball milled into the frame. You know, I couldn't reach this one because the table's out of adjustment. I couldn't reach those because I'm out of adjustment. I couldn't reach up here around the neck because I had to have the clamping kit here. So now I'll move the clamping kit. I'll readjust the frame, finish up the rest of these holes, flip this frame over and do the other side. All right, I'm getting ready to machine these last couple of dimples. The last one will go right there. I got these dimples ball milled up in the front here. I hit with some sandpaper to get the paint off of it so you can kind of see what it looks like. I'm using a support stand from a hardware store that I use for all kind of stuff, for bending and doing stuff like this, but it's helping support the frame. And then I've got the frame clamped down. I'm going to do this lower leg of the frame now. So there's the ball milled front down tube or front leg. And then I've marked off this front lower leg similarly, and I'll do this and I'll reposition and come back up and do this leg, and then I'll reposition and come back up and do this later. But you got to just keep moving the thing around, but you can see I've got it all marked off. Ready to come in with the ball mill, create those dimples, and move on. There's the right bottom leg ball milled. Now I've shifted the frame on the milling machine table once again, and I've marked this lower rear leg, and I'm gonna go ahead and ball mill that. And then I'll go ahead and ball mill this top leg and flip the frame over and do the other side. All right, now I'm gonna start to work. I've run out of my range on the table. I have to reset the frame up because the frame's so big. I'm gonna work on my staggered ball mills that go on the outside here. So I've got set up on this one. We'll come down a little bit and out of line a little bit. There we go. There we go. And I'll just move down the line. I mean, you can see how long Jake these choppers laid out. This frame's got really nice long lines to it. And what better way to accentuate those lines than a ball mill the frame like I did on my very first biker build-off almost 25 years ago. The frame's gonna be nickel plated. The sheet metal is gonna be really minimal. You know, the fender's gonna be small. The gas tank's gonna be small. It gets a ball milled steel sissy bar. It'll be nickel plated also. So that nickel's gonna be one of the primary things that jumps out at you when you look at this motorcycle. So take a look at it now and take a look at it when it's done, and you'll notice what a huge difference ball milling and nickel is.